Because they tell you nowhere in the Old Testament says Messiah will be killed, right?
Yeah.
They lie to you because in the Talmud, Messiah will be killed to fulfill Zechariah 12:10. So why didn't they tell you?
Talmud?
Yeah, right here, watch. The immediate results of this war will be disastrous. Mashiach ben Yosef will be killed. This is described in the prophecy of Zechariah, who says of this tragedy, they shall be mourn him as one mourns for an only child. The Talmud says Zechariah 12:10 is about the killing of Messiah, son of Joseph, in the Talmud. How come they didn't tell you that?
It may be the interpretation of one rabbi, but not of the whole.
Which part of the Talmud isn't clear? The Talmud is one rabbi? And
No, the Talmud is discussion of different rabbis on different topics, the commentaries.
Now you're being argumentative and you're speaking in ignorance, because this is the view of manifold rabbis. So stop your desperation. Even if it's one rabbi, where did he get the idea that Messiah would be killed? He just told you, Zechariah 12:10. You're trying too hard, dude, to justify following the rabbis to the pit of hell. Pesikhta Rabbati, chapter 36, 37, speak of Messiah, son of Joseph, already existing from creation. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'm checking the sources.
Hosea said, in the future, Jerusalem will be a lantern for the nations of the world, and they will walk in her light. In thy light do we see light, Psalm 36:10. This is the light of the Messiah, as it is written, and God saw the light, that it was good. Did you see what they just did? Your rabbis that you've been following and who've been deceiving you, see what they just did?
They interpret the verse as the messianic.
Yeah, but Psalm 36:9 is talking about God. It's God's light. And they identified God's light as the light of Messiah. And they identified the light of Messiah as already being there in Genesis 1. So the Messiah was there at creation. Did the rabbis tell you this?
No.
This teaches us that the Holy One, blessed be, saw the generation of the Messiah. Now watch. And its deeds prior to the creation of the world. And he hid the light for the Messiah in the generation under his throne of glory. So his light was there from creation. And he was there speaking to God. Here, watch. Satan said before the Holy One, blessed be, Master of the world, the light which is hidden under your throne of glory, for whom it is destined. He said to him, for him who will turn you back and disgrace you and shame your face. He said to Master of the world, show him to me. He said to him, come and see him. Oh, so he's already there? When Satan saw the Messiah, he trembled and fell upon his face and said, surely this is the Messiah who in the future will cast me and all the princes of the nations of the world into Gehenna. Did the rabbis tell you that rabbinic sources say the Messiah was there from creation?
The hell? No.
In rabbinic literature, especially in the Midrash Pesikhta Rabbati, there is a striking and profound image. The light created on the first day in the book of Genesis was not the light of the sun or of the heavenly bodies, for those were not made until the fourth day. The light of that first day is known in Jewish tradition as organus, the hidden light, and Pesikhta Rabbati teaches that this light was reserved for the Messiah. The phrase, and God saw that the light was good, Genesis 1:4, is not merely an aesthetic remark, but a divine affirmation of a light destined to become the center of eschatological hope. The Midrash connects this light directly to the Messiah, declaring, Veze oro shel Mashiach, and this is the light of the Messiah. In this context, the light that God saw as Tav, good, was not simply good in a moral sense, but good because it was purposed for redemption. It was the light appointed to shine through the Messiah, who would become a light to the nations. In Pesikhta Rabbati, chapters 36 and 37, we also find a striking statement that the name of the Messiah, son of Joseph, was conceived in the mind of God before the world was ever created. In rabbinic language, this does not suggest that the Messiah existed physically at that time, but rather that within God's eternal plan, the identity, suffering, and redemptive mission of the Messiah had already been ordained, even before heaven and earth came into being. The Messiah, therefore, is not a response to human sin after the fact, but an integral part of creation's original design. The Midrash also draws from Psalm 36, verse 10, Be orka naire, or for in your light we see light. This isn't just poetic language. In rabbinic interpretation, it's a direct reference to the light of the Messiah, a light through which the people of God will behold redemption and truth. Only in the true light of God can the people behold what truly matters, the light that redeems, the light that reveals the heart of heaven. Thus, the divine light and the messianic light are not two separate realities. They are one and the same. The light that proceeds from God is the very light that allows us to see truth, and that light is the Messiah himself. The statement of Hosea, also echoed in this Midrash, affirms that Jerusalem will one day become a lantern to the nations. This only deepens the connection between the light, the Messiah, and divine revelation to the world. Jerusalem is not merely a geographical place, but a symbol of God's presence among his people. And the light shining forth from Jerusalem is not only symbolic, it is profoundly real in the person of the Messiah. Through his light, the nations will see the light of salvation.
Did the rabbis tell you that rabbinic sources say the Messiah was there from creation?
The hell? No. A Messiah is supposed to be a normal human.
Are you now quoting them who lied, or are you saying you agree? Because I just quoted you. Pesikhta Rabbati says,
Yeah,
no, he was
I'm
there.
quoting what they said.
But this Jewish source says, no, Messiah was there already. He's there with God by his throne. When he created the Messiah, now, that's not what it says, but let's go with it. The Holy One, blessed be he, began to tell him the conditions of his future mission and said to him, now watch, Messiah's already there from creation. And God is telling Messiah what he's going to do in the future.
Okay.
Those who are hidden with you, your generation, their sins will in the future force you into an iron yoke, and they will render you like unto a calf whose eyes have grown dim, and they will choke your spirit with the yoke. And because of their sins, your tongue will cleave to the rod of your mouth. Do you accept this? Wait, God is telling the Messiah, look, because of the sins of your people, you're going to now bear them, and the burden of them is going to make your tongue cleave to the roof of your mouth. That's Psalm 22. The rabbi is saying Psalm 22 is about the Messiah's suffering. So God is now saying, will you bear it? The Messiah said before the Holy One, blessed be he, Master of the world, will that suffering last many years? The Holy One, blessed be he, said to him, by your life and the life of my head. So he's swearing by the life of Messiah and his own life. It is a septenary, meaning 7, of it that I decree upon. He's going to last for 7 years. But if your soul is troubled, I shall banish them as from this moment. So he's giving him an option. Either you suffer for their sins, so I can save them for 7 years, or I'm going to wipe them out. Your choice. Now watch what he says. He said before him, Master of the worlds, with gladness in my soul and with joy in my heart, I accept it, so that not a single one of Israel shall perish. Wait, so he's going to suffer for their sins so they won't have to suffer? So why didn't the rabbis tell you this? In that hour, the Holy One, blessed be he, says to him, Ephraim, my true Messiah, you've already accepted this from the 6 days of creation. Now your suffering shall be like my suffering. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
When did Messiah agree to accept the suffering?
6 days of creation.
You mean
True
he was
Messiah,
already
yeah,
there in
already.
Genesis 1?
Some of the rabbis interpret Isaiah 53, the servant, as Israel.
The majority interpret it as Messiah. Right here, Emmanuel Joket is rebuking the Jews who say that if you say Isaiah 53 is about Israel, not Messiah, you're lying. The polemicist, Tobias Singer, but he admits in his article it's about Messiah, follow the majority opinion of medieval, later rabbis, Jewish actually that speaks of the Jewish people as opposed to the Christian claim that it speaks of Messiah. This view is found also among some Talmud rabbis. It does not negate, however, the validity, note, of the pervasive, widespread Talmudic, Midrashic, meaning in the Talmud, Midrash, Zohar interpretation that the subject of that chapter is indeed Mashiach. Did they tell you that?
No, they didn't tell me.
Why?
I don't know, maybe they're hiding something.
In early rabbinic tradition, especially in sources like Targum Yonatan, the Talmud Bavli, and classical Midrashim, Isaiah 53 was understood as a prophecy about a personal Messiah, not a metaphor for the nation of Israel. In Targum Yonatan, the official Aramaic translation used in 1st century synagogue liturgy, Isaiah 52:13 begins with the words, "Behold, my servant, the Messiah, shall prosper." The statement is direct. There's no nationalist allegory or symbolic interpretation. It refers explicitly to a person, the Messiah. This understanding is further confirmed in the Talmud Bavli, especially in Sanhedrin 98b, where the rabbis discuss the names of the Messiah and quote directly from Isaiah 53. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. They even refer to the Messiah as the leper scholar, describing him as one afflicted, yet redemptive. Similarly, Midrash Ruth Rabbah speaks of the Messiah as the one who carries our infirmities, directly referencing Isaiah 53:4. So within early Jewish tradition, there is little doubt. This chapter was seen as describing the suffering and sacrificial role of the coming Messiah. But everything changed in the medieval period. Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, better known as Rashi, introduced a new and highly influential interpretation that the suffering servant in Isaiah 53 was not the Messiah, but the nation of Israel itself. This interpretation arose in a polemical context as a defense against growing Christian claims that Isaiah 53 was a messianic prophecy fulfilled in Jesus. Rashi's view was later followed by Ibn Ezra and other medieval rabbis, and over time this collective interpretation became dominant in yeshiva education and the broader Jewish world. However, not all rabbis accepted this shift. Rabbi Emanuel Shochet, a prominent modern Jewish apologist, once rebuked fellow Jews for denying the messianic reading of Isaiah 53. He said bluntly, "You are lying to the Jewish people. You know Isaiah 53 speaks of the Messiah." While Shochet himself did not believe in Jesus, he was honest about the traditional rabbinic understanding of the text. He acknowledged that Isaiah 53 was originally read as messianic. Sadly, this tradition has been lost to most modern Jews. In many Jewish communities, both secular and Orthodox, Isaiah 53 is no longer taught. It is not read in the weekly Haftarah portions. The chapter is literally skipped. It is not discussed. It is not studied. In many yeshivot, students are only introduced to Rashi's and Ibn Ezra's interpretations, while the Targum and earlier Midrashim are kept out of view. The reason is simple: to create distance from Christianity. For many Jewish leaders, revisiting the messianic interpretation of Isaiah 53 feels like opening a door they've long tried to keep shut. The early interpretation wasn't rejected because it lacked validity, but because it aligned too closely with Christian claims. And so, modern denial is not the product of honest textual analysis. It's a theological strategy, born out of fear, not truth.